Hello friends, this video on dual nature of radiation and matter part 10 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 9 before going ahead with part 10. So before concluding this lesson, by this time we have seen that radiation has dual nature, both particle nature and wave nature. Wave nature we have discussed in our previous chapter. Particle nature we discussed here. Similarly, matter also has particle nature, which we really don't need to discuss because we see matter all around us. And matter also has a wave nature, which was discussed by de Broglie's hypothesis. So that was all about this lesson, which talks about dual nature of matter and radiation. So I hope now you know what was the purpose of this lesson, right? So before concluding this lesson or before bringing it to an end, let us talk about a very important experiment performed by a group of scientists named Davison and Germer. What so important or what so significant did they do in this experiment? They actually observed the diffraction effects of electrons in crystal diffraction experiment. I told you some time back, right, that if you want to observe the wave nature of electron, you can observe it in crystal diffraction experiments because the wavelength associated with an electron is approximately of the order of the spacing between atomic crystals. So Davison and Germer actually performed this experiment and they could actually observe the phenomenon of diffraction by electrons. Sounds interesting, right? So let us see what did they actually do. So first let us look at the experimental setup which they used. So let us look at the experimental setup. Diagram looks a little complicated, but we will discuss one by one. So it consisted of an evacuated chamber. As you can see, this is the evacuated chamber. Inside this they had an electron gun. So this is the electron gun. You can see this gun. So from this electrons were ejected. There was a battery. A battery is needed to maintain a potential difference. A cylinder with fine hole along its axis. So this was a cylinder. This A was a cylinder with a fine hole along its axis. There was a very fine hole, small hole along its axis. So this was the hole. A nickel crystal. This is the crystal because a crystal is needed, right? We are actually doing a crystal diffraction experiment. So what are we trying to do? We will actually try to make the electrons strike the nickel crystal and we will see what happens. There was a detector, as you can see here, and a galvanometer, of course, to measure the amount of current, right? So these were the different objects which were required to perform this experiment. Now what did they actually do? Let us see here. What they actually did was this electron beam. Now electron beam from this gun was accelerated by this high voltage power supply or the battery. The battery which I was talking about was this high voltage power supply. So the electrons were ejected by this electron gun, and as soon as the electrons came out here, they were accelerated using this battery. Now these accelerated electrons were then made to pass through the thin hole along the axis of the cylinder. So the cylinder was placed in such a way that it is placed just in front of the electron gun, so that as soon as the beam of electrons came out of the electron gun, they will get accelerated by the battery and then they will pass through that small hole along the axis of the cylinder. Now once it comes out through the other end of the cylinder, we get a very focused beam of electron and a collimated beam. That means too many electrons along a straight line. It will not be scattered. It is not a scattered beam. A very thin line of electrons came up and then they were made to strike this nickel target. So what happened? It was seen that the electrons got scattered by the atoms of nickel. So now since electrons got scattered, what happened? Different electrons got scattered at different angles. Here if you see, theta is the angle of scattering. Now not all electrons reached at this point. Some of them reached at this point, some reached this point, some reached this point, and so on. So the electrons got scattered by the atoms of nickel. Now we had a detector. What was the purpose of the detector? The detector was to detect the presence of electrons. So it was actually seeing where the electrons are falling on the screen. So it was actually able to detect the electrons. And then the current associated with this electrons due to the flow of this electron was measured using the galvanometer. Now this experiment was performed. Now this measurement was taken for different angles of scattering. Okay, and also this entire experiment was performed for different voltages. That means the voltage which is supplied by this high voltage power supply, right? So it was performed for different voltages. So this entire experiment was repeated for voltages 44 volts to 68 volts. That means for first it was set at 44 volts. So if the electrons are accelerated by 44 volts, then also it got scattered at different angles, and it was noted that what was the angle of scattering and what was the intensity at what point. So the intensity at all the points were noted, and all the angles of scattering were noted. Again, the entire thing was repeated for 45 volts, then 46 volts, similarly till 68 volts. So this experiment was repeated so many times. And then what was the result? To the phenomenon of diffraction, there was a strong peak at this point of time. When there was a strong peak, the corresponding angle of scattering was found to be 50 degrees. So when will you get this strong peak? I mean, electrons are all particles, right? So it is not expected that from electrons or due to scattering of electrons, you will get some pattern like this, where you have a peak and then minimas following it. So it was very similar to the diffraction pattern, right? So this diffraction pattern or this strong peak was due to the constructive interference, right? And then experimentally they also calculated the wavelength associated with this electron, and it was found that the wavelength came out to be 0.165 nanometers. So experimentally the wavelength associated with this, by looking at the plot or by looking at the variation of the intensity due to scattering of electrons, they calculated the wavelength, which came out to be 0.165 nanometer, right? So these were the two important results of Davison and Germer experiment, which clearly showed that scattering of electrons also gives rise to diffraction pattern. This shows that electrons also behave like wave under certain situations. This Davison and Germer experiment was in strong agreement with de Broglie's hypothesis. How? Because if we apply de Broglie's hypothesis, so according to de Broglie's hypothesis, what is the wavelength associated with an electron? It is h upon p, right? Which in turn comes out to be 1.227 divided by root over capital V, where V is the potential applied to accelerate the electron. We derived this formulae in one of our previous slides, right? So now, in this case, we told that we observed the peak at V is equal to 54 volts. So now in this formula, if we put V is equal to 54, what do we get? We get lambda is equal to 1.227 divided by root over 54, which comes out to be 0.167 nanometers. So if you look at it and if you compare it with the value of wavelength that was observed experimentally, that was 0.165 nanometers. That means these two values are in strong agreement with each other. That means Davison-Germer experiment was in strong agreement with de Broglie's hypothesis. So now that we have reached towards the end of the lesson, what did we conclude from this lesson, or what did we learn from this lesson? All that we learned here was that every radiation and every matter has dual nature. They can behave as a particle, they can also behave as a wave, depending upon the experiment where they are used, depending upon the situation where we are observing them. There are certain phenomena which can be explained by wave nature of radiation. On the other hand, there are certain phenomena like photoelectric effect which can be explained only by particle nature of radiation, right? Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.